Ze zijn heel onafhankelijk, ze kunnen veel zonder de man hier.
My name is Phuntshok Choden. I'm basically a Bhutanese national, but currently I'm also wearing two hats.
Vrouwen in Bhutan. Je zou eigenlijk kunnen zeggen dat het land gerund wordt door vrouwen, want de vierde koning, dat is de vorige koning, die heeft 4 vrouwen, de moederkoningin nu op dit moment. En zij zetten zich allemaal in voor een maatschappelijk thema. Ze hebben zo elk hun eigen thema. Dus eigenlijk in die laag, in de koninklijke familie, zie je al dat de vrouwen een veel belangrijkere rol spelen. De vierde koning is vrij onzichtbaar op dit moment. En eigenlijk gaat dat naar elke laag van de bevolking wel terug. Je ziet vrouwen aan de top, bijvoorbeeld ook de NGO waar ik voor werk, de directeurs en dame. Maar je ziet ook de vrouwen aan de weg werken. Dus in alle lagen komen ze terug. Het enige waar het misschien wat minder zichtbaar is de politiek. Daarover hebben we gesproken met Phuntshok. Maar voor de rest zie je best wel een gelijkwaardige verhouding tussen de mannen en de vrouwen hier. Ik denk zelfs dat de vrouwen harder werken dan de mannen. Ik denk dat ze veel op zich nemen. Vaak de zorg voor kinderen. Ze hebben vaak ook de kinderen op hun rug terwijl ze aan het werk zijn. Ze zijn heel onafhankelijk. Ze kunnen veel zonder de man hier. Leven vaak ook apart van de man, ook al zijn ze officieel gewoon wel bij elkaar. En zo zie je bijvoorbeeld ook op de markt in Thimphu ook veel vrouwen die de groente en fruit verkopen. Maar vaak zie je ook juist weer op het land dat de vrouwen degene zijn die het verbouwen. Dus de vrouwen spelen hier best een belangrijke rol. En je zou kunnen zeggen van, die trekken het land wel op een bepaalde manier. Naar aanleiding van een van de suggesties in het tweede seizoen gaan wij bij de Nederlandse honorair consul op bezoek om eens te kijken wat zij ons kan vertellen over de positie van vrouwen hier in Bhutan. Zo, we zitten bij Phuntshok, inmiddels met een kopje thee en koffie. En het is misschien leuk als ze zichzelf even voorstelt wie zij is en wat haar rol hier in Bhutan is.
My name is Phuntshok Choden. I'm basically a Bhutanese national, but currently I'm also wearing two hats. One, primarily, I'm also as you know, I'm also the honorary consul of the Netherlands, so I represent the Dutch government in Bhutan as an extension of the embassy in Delhi, make representation of the Dutch government in Bhutan and facilitate projects and programs and visits and missions, etc. And also in times of trouble, if you, as Dutch nationals, when you are in Bhutan, if you run into any problems, especially losing your passports, or if you get into some other problems, difficult situations, then I'm here to save you and take care of you.
That sounds good.
Yeah. But the main role, the job that I do is I'm also running this NGO, civil society organization called the Bhutan Network for Empowering Women. This is one of about 50 registered NGOs in Bhutan.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's very, very safely it can be said that it is also the only one which is focusing on women's empowerment, especially in mobilizing women for politics. And our focus is on strengthening women's participation in governance, leadership, and politics.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how successful is that so far? Because that's already an interesting topic, especially with the elections coming up.
Although we are a very young and very newly registered NGO, since a year we've been registered. Our work has, through our work, I think we've been able to make a little bit of impact when it came to the local level, the grassroots level politics, when the second local elections of 2016 took place. Mm-hmm. Through our efforts, we were all over the country mobilizing women, and then motivating them, building their capacity, and then trying to really ensure that women took part in the politics, at the local government. And in the first local elections that had taken place in 2011, when we were not existing, women's representation came out to be only about 6.9%.
Oh wow!
But in the last one, since our existence and with all the efforts that we put in, we managed to bring up the representation to about 12%.
Oh, great!
So,
okay.
Of course, our aspiration was to try and make it to about 20%.
Uh-huh.
We didn't manage, but given the ground realities, I think that was the best scenario possible.
Yeah.
And we feel happy in a way that we could manage to make some impact and increasing the representation to at least 12%. When it comes to the parliamentary level elections, as you know, the third parliamentary elections are on this year.
Yeah.
The National Council elections to the upper house just completed. And in that, for the 20 seats representing the 20 districts of Bhutan in the upper house, there were so many male contestants in each of the districts. And in the final round, there were like the 6 women who finally came out to contest the final round. And in the final round, only 2 women out of the 6 got elected.
Okay.
So in a way, it's an improvement because in 2013, the 5 women contestants were knocked out. So all 20 districts were represented by men.
Yeah.
At least this time, I mean, in a way, it's a blessing because we have at least 2 women.
Yeah.
At least 2 districts represented by women.
Exactly. Yeah. And then maybe move a little bit aside from the politics part, but more in general, because you just mentioned like the ground reality is that we are quite happy with what we achieved. What makes it that you think that women in the previous time did not get that much of like elected or maybe away from politics, like the jobs in maybe higher up functions? Or
in general, if you look at the situation of women in Bhutan, when you compare it to our neighboring countries like India, Pakistan, Nepal, who are the immediate neighbors, the status of women in Bhutan is fairly positive, fairly good, and fairly strong.
Yeah, I
because
would say so.
I think as a society, we are a very, very gender egalitarian society.
Yeah.
Gender relations between men and women are quite balanced and quite equal. There are no inhibitions. Women can equally, crack equally dirty jokes at men, and as men can, tease women. Women are very important. And in our customs, for a very long time, and even now actually, like for instance, when it comes to inheritance of property, land, titles, whether it is your, family homes in the villages, etc., those are all the big assets are all passed down from mothers to daughters.
Oh, wow.
It's up to the parents to decide to give all to a son or to a daughter or to the eldest or to the youngest or divide equally. It's up to the parents. But in the absence of a will, and if the parents are not around, then the law will divide it equally. The general tendency is to favor girls. Okay? Of course, it's for the gender stereotyped reasons of, girls will stay home, take care of you, etc. in your old age and all that. So they have more confidence in daughters taking care of the parents. So, but then that doesn't go unrewarded because then the parents also pass down the property to the daughters. Because of that comfort, where parents always felt there's no need for the girls to go to, higher education. Because of that kind of mindset, they feel that girls are being, they're really pampering them and looking after them and favoring them. They felt that education was not so necessary. Because of that, the legacy you see today and around is that it's a very male-dominated public space, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to the civil service. Now, when you're looking also at politics, you find, it's more boys and men who are, more confidently taking part in it.
Het voelt inderdaad als redelijk gelijkwaardig in de kansen. Alleen vanuit oudsher zie je nog steeds wel op bepaalde posities dat er meer mannen aanwezig zijn. Maar in principe is er wel een beweging richting een soort van gender equal society. En is dat ook wel hier zichtbaar. How would you say that men view women, or what would their perception be on the women in maybe the family or in the society?
I think in general, if you were to ask any man on the street, and also even more educated and more mature men also, the response you might get is that they have higher regard for women. They consider women to be at the center of the families. Unlike in other societies, here because of matrilineal pattern of inheritance, marriages are also matrilocal in a way. These are just terms we cook up. It means that girl stays home and my husband actually comes into the family. And lives with me. So therefore, I'm in a very empowered position because I'm at home. So then he's a guest. So in that sense, most of the men, they really say that in fact, in the early days, they used to always say, there are no gender issues in Bhutan. Women are very empowered here. Women run the family, women run the society, they used to say, which is quite true also. It's only that with modernization, with education, with communication, with all that, And then slowly, looking, through internet and through television, then when you see all the other things, then, people tend to compare yourself with other places. And then, you gain less confidence. So then, therefore, women being less exposed, women having stayed home and not really seen the world, whereas men have been out there. They were the first to go to school, to India, and, they're the first ones to go to university, they're the first ones to serve in the government. So obviously, men have been there in public spaces, they're more confident, and so, therefore, women have less confidence. But I think at the end of the day, it's a very patriarchal society. It's also a very male-dominated society, and the patriarchal norms are also there, the gender stereotype norms, the values and systems are quite there as well. I sometimes say, okay, it's like kind of like a matrilineal system in a patriarchal system, It's a kind of a very
I see what you
complex
mean.
situation,
Phuntshok is also very familiar with the Netherlands. It might be nice, how would you perceive our women, and what would you see as a difference between the women in Bhutan and in the Netherlands from your point of view?
I guess in some ways we are very similar in the sense that, in the Netherlands, I have many friends and I've been there so many times. And when I see the very gender egalitarian relations, where men and women really do not have any inhibitions, about talking about anything, and then workplace and everywhere but on the other hand, I think when it comes to really being visible in higher positions and in the executive levels and in politics, etc., then I find that you all are way ahead of us. But on very personal, more intimate relations with some friends, when I share and when we talk, and when I also observe how at home how things are run and all that, then there's not much difference. Because I think however progressive you may be in the public sphere, and because of the sheer force of education and the economic powers, I think women have managed to push themselves into the public sphere. But yet, when you look at the home sphere, women still tend to fall back into the same gender roles, and I think men are also quite comfortably slipping back into being typical males. And I have these discussions with some of my Dutch friends, So that's something that I guess as educated, as more progressive people, whether it's in the Netherlands or in Bhutan, people like you and me, I think it's always a kind of when we have to make an effort, at trying to, be the change that people want to see. Perhaps in the next generation, let's say during your children and my children's time, maybe things become more normal and more, natural to be the way we want them to be, But at the moment, I think for us, it is still a lot of effort.
I think I agree with that in a sense that you see Bhutan has the potential for that, because I think the gender equality is quite there. So thank you so much for your time, for sharing your views on this, on how we view women in society in Bhutan.
Thank you so much. It was really nice talking to you, and I'm also glad that I could talk to you and just discuss freely.